Tony Conway stands well regarded for his bold vision and skilled execution of planned events. For him, safe is a four-letter word. He does his best to avoid it, as you'll see in today's Executive Profiles.
How did a Houston Texan find his way to Atlanta?
I was in the hotel business. I had been in the hotel business for a long time and moved from Texas in the hotel business to Orlando with another company, and then fortunately was brought to Atlanta with Ritz Carlton.
What did you learn from the Ritz Carlton experience?
You know, I really learned and still believe in the service industry, we are all ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen, and that's, you know, what their motto is. It was the pinnacle of being in the hotel business for 20 years. So,
is there a mentor who throughout your career you look back on as the person who you said, I want to do it that person's way? Was there any one person you could tell me about?
There was one gentleman who took a risk on me with Marriott Corporation, Paul Ryan, and he was one who said, you know, I think you're not telling the truth about your experience, but you're telling it really well. And so I'm going to give you a chance. And he did, and mentored me through a lot of it.
Yeah. So 1997 comes around, and you get this opportunity to leave the Ritz-Carlton, I assume, right, and then start your own business. What was on the back of the napkin? What did legendary events look like back then?
Back then, it really looked like just event planning. I found out that no one did it like I wanted it done, so shifted gears and started the catering division of the company.
Thinking back on the thousands of events you've done, tell me about one that stands out in your mind as being particularly special and why.
Probably the one that was the most exciting for me. I had been interviewing to work on the Tyler Perry Studios opening through an LA company. And the LA company was let go, and I was really disappointed. I decided just to pick the phone up and call Tyler Perry Studios myself. I just got right to the right person, the executive producer, who said, can you come to a meeting tomorrow? And I did, and come to find out, Mr. Perry had decided to move the meeting up an hour early, and they let everyone know except us. So I was late, and that was my first meeting with Tyler Perry. He loved the event business as well. He loved us taking him on the journey of getting that event done and opening his studios, just like he does, you know, a movie or something. So that was a really good one.
Can you give me an example of when an event goes off the rails? What do you do to turn it around?
I was driving to an event, talking with my team on the phone, and they said, we have a small problem, and I'm pulling into the event, and I see the small problem happening. It was a venue where there was a tent that had been put up, and it was pouring down rain. And the tent was a little bit on a slant, and as I pulled in, the kitchen tent just started sliding down the hill. So we cooked and produced in the rain and made that happen.
What do you look for in the people who work for you?
You know, I look for a passion, of course, in our industry, but I also look for people that understand the profitability of the business for both our clients and us as a company. I look for people who maybe want to take a risk and just haven't found the right place to take that risk with. I love risk takers. We have an incredible team. I work with a lot of teams in our industry around the country when I go and work in other cities. There's not a team like ours out there. It's an incredible team.
Most events companies are satisfied simply going to other venues, staging their events, putting together great catering. A couple of years ago, you decided to take it a bit further. You had the old Anthony's restaurant on Piedmont. It's a beautiful old antebellum mansion, and you decided to kind of go into the real estate business.
Really, I was not going in that direction. I had gotten a call from someone that said, come and take a look at this property, and I said, all right. I don't know why. I went to look at it, and I thought, you know what, this is a really interesting place. I called my team, and as I always do, had a chilled bottle of Kettle One vodka and limes, and I said, let's have a drink, and where you're standing right now is where we might do a new event space. And we were in the middle of a really busy time, and they were like, are you insane? I said, I just think this would be a great thing to do. And we stepped into it and did it, and did it pretty quickly. We transformed that building in about 8 or 9 months. It was great because what it did is it gave us a venue where we could control everything that was happening in that venue.
Right.
And it was also a better profit margin for us.
And then literally across the street, an old car dealership is available.
Yes.
And that ends up turning into Flourish, another event facility that
Yes.
is one of the most popular ones in the city right now.
So I had parked across the street from one of our events because we needed additional parking, and was in the parking lot of the old Chrysler Jeep dealership. Had my flashlight on and said, you know, this is kind of interesting. So again, same thing, chilled that bottle of vodka, called the team and said, so here's our next venue. And that's how Flourish came about. But Flourish has been great in that it's bigger than the estate, so it gives us a much bigger capacity.
What are some of those ingredients you feel like are critical to putting together something successful?
If we're doing an event for 500 people, that client is giving us the opportunity to be in front of 498 potential clients, and they're paying for it. So, you know, first and foremost, how do we make that event successful for the client, but also for us, for those clients that are the guests that are there to ask who did this and, you know, maybe get that referral.
Legendary Events is going on 20 years in business, and though the company puts on affairs for the famous and affluent, community is close at heart. To date, Legendary Events has donated more than $12 million in services and contributions to charitable causes and nonprofit organizations. Tony Conway is a past recipient of the 11 Alive Community Service Award for Special Event.